Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. I am Dale with Realvolve. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be talking today about how you can use Realvolve's CRM and workflow platform to save you time and help you with long-term gains in your business. I just want to preface the webinar today that it's not going to be a very deep dive, comprehensive overview of Realvolve. I want to keep it a little bit high level, but I am going to dive in and show you a couple of really cool things you can do. Our system is really powerful, so if you are interested in more of a deep dive into your business, I'm going to let you know at the end how you can get in touch with your rep. They'll schedule some one-on-one time with you, ask you questions about your business, and show you solutions that apply directly to you. They talk to real estate agents all day long, and they'll be a really valuable resource for you. Also, pay attention to that chat on the right side of your screen there. I'm going to be asking some questions and I want your input. Please let me know that you're there. Say hi in the chat. Ask questions. I'll try to get to them if I can. I have one of our sales representatives on the webinar with us today, and so they'll also be assisting me in answering questions. If we can't get to you right away, we'll follow up with an email or a phone call after the webinar's over. So I'm going to try to keep it nice and tight, and we're going to move quickly. So just let me know if you have any questions, and we'll get to you as quickly as we can. So Realvolve is a CRM and workflow platform built all around long-term gains and built with real estate agents in mind to help you have a thriving and healthy business. And what that means is we want you to be able to grow sustainably, but only if that's what your goal is. Some people's goal is to maybe spend less time or have less stress in their business. That also can be what thriving and sustainable means to you. So I want to talk about that today on the webinar. One of my favorite quotes is from a famous basketball coach, John Wooden, and he said, "Never mistake activity for achievement." What he means by that, of course, is that it's really easy for us to be busy all day long, but that doesn't necessarily mean we achieved anything. Responding to all of the emails we had in our inbox is a really great thing. We all need to do it, but that doesn't alone mean that we had a really successful day. We still need to be focusing on goals. We need to focus on plans, preparation, preventing crises from coming up. And Realvolve is all about helping you build those processes that will do that for you in your business. I love this toy. It's called the Codapillar. I bought it for my kids last Christmas. And it teaches children how to engineer a process by putting segments of this little toy caterpillar together in the right orders. And it gives the caterpillar commands to say, go right, go left, go straight, blink the lights, etc. And there's really cool games you can play with it, but it teaches children how to engineer that process. And Realvolve is the same thing for real estate, but instead of course, going forward, right, and blinking lights, we want to help you with your phone calls, getting the right documents, working through checklists and tasks, staying in touch with your past clients, all of those things that a healthy, thriving business is built on. Because it's easy for us to think in our heads that our transactions are going to go this way or our listings are going to go this way in a nice, clean, straight up and down line, but it never works out that way. It ends up being more like this. And this is an actual workflow for a listing appointment that one of our customers sent over to me. And there's a lot that we have to keep in our heads, and there's a lot that we have to juggle. And so I want to talk about how to do those things in your business using our powerful workflow platform. So here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about using Realvolve workflows for following up with leads and staying in touch with past clients. I want to talk about coordinating and organizing transaction tasks. And then lastly, I want to talk about prioritizing your day around the most important things and smoothing out the things that are not as important. My motto is that if a machine can do it just as well as a human being, then a machine should do it. So inside Realvolve, this is what a contact record looks like. There's lots of very useful information. We try to keep it all nice and high on the page so you can get at things really quickly. Like every system out there, our system will take you a little while to get oriented to, but once you do, we try to make it so that you can find all of the important details really quickly and really easily. So you can look kind of browse through, see the most important information. We have this contact cross-section and a relationship score that's really, really powerful. You should ask your rep about it. I'm not going to dive deep into that today, but ask your rep about that when you talk to them. The relationship score will blow your mind. We keep everything tabbed so that you can quickly get right to the information that you need to instead of having to scroll down the page, 5 or 6 page lengths. Kevin has a question. Do you have email campaign or drip functionality? Yes, Kevin, we do. You can do email blasts. You can do newsletters. You can do drip campaigns. You can have drip campaigns for new clients, for existing clients, for past clients. Lots of different cool things you can do. You can create mobile responsive emails. We can create them for you. Ask your rep about that. A lot of cool things you can do with that. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about is effectively communicating with your leads, your clients, and your past clients on their timeline. Not on your timeline, but on their timeline. And that's a really important detail that a lot of other systems missed. Other follow-up tools aren't smart about how they repeat tasks or how they schedule tasks. A lot of them just base things on an arbitrary delay. So remind me every 7 days to follow up with this person, right? That doesn't always work. Hey, guess what? Sometimes it works, and I will tell you this definitively. Setting recurring tasks is better than nothing, but we think there's a better way to do that. Follow-up plans should transition smoothly into the next plan upon achieving your goal on the previous one. So for example, if you're working a lead and you convert that lead into a client, you should have a workflow that smoothly transitions them into some sort of a client workflow, depending on whether they're a buyer or a seller. And Realvolve can do those kinds of things. We have this powerful workflow platform that can help you calculate activities based off of dates. So I can have things scheduled to happen 1 day before my next appointment date and time, for an example. And I have 2 examples of this later on in the presentation that I want to share with you. Also, depending on the scenario, you need flexibility on how automatic your follow-ups are. Because sometimes you're going to want things to go out automatically without you lifting a finger, but other times you're going to want things to go out manually based on something that's happened. And so one thing you can do with a manual send, for example, I want to show you this. Something really cool you can do is I can have a task set up where I want to schedule an email to go out right after I've left somebody a voicemail, because those things should happen together. But if I automate the email, how does my system know that I just made the phone call, right? Well, Realvolve does. So this is how you can do something like that. I want to click on my task. This is, in this case, I got a buyer lead from Zillow, and I want to call them, but I also want to make it easy for me to follow up after the phone call, whether I talk to them or whether I left a voicemail. So I'm going to click on this activity here, and it's going to give me a little pop-up with all the pertinent information that I need about the person, their name, their phone number, last time I talked to them or last time I tried to talk to them. I can leave notes here while I'm on the phone with them. Here are my notes. And then also, I can just go down the list here. I'm going to say, yep. Okay, now what if I left them a voicemail? I probably want a boilerplate follow-up email or a follow-up text message, which is really cool. I've already written a template out for that, and it's going to basically be the same because I already know they're a Zillow lead and that I am leaving them a voicemail, and so I just want to follow up automatically. So I can click this box and hit run, and that email is going to automatically go out. I don't have to touch it now. Or if I actually talk to the person on the phone, I want to send my next steps email. So when I click on this run, I got this email now that pops up to say, hey, as promised on the phone, here's all my contact info, and my signature dynamically gets inserted. I'm looking forward to meeting you. Here's what to expect next. Now I can type my little here's what to expect next message and send it. And boom, I'm done. So really cool, right? I mean, it just makes it really fast to be able to go from one task to the next. And again, like I told you, I want to show you a couple examples of that. The idea is that Now I'm doubling up my follow-up at the right times. Everything I do has more impact because it's relevant to the situation that I'm actually in. Let's see. So the next thing I want to talk about is most tools don't allow you to do auto-send emails, auto-send SMS, and tasks and phone calls all in the same workflow, but Realvolve does. So you can handle things like, I want to do an automatic email campaign. There's my pre-written template that's going to use. I want to have maybe a day after, I want to send my text message. That's based on a template. I'm dynamically inserting that person's information. I hear all the time from agents saying, I have this lead response text message that works really well, but I have to copy and paste it every single time I want to send it out. That's just not sustainable. Why don't you just write it one time in Realvolve and the system can automatically send it out at the right time when it's relevant? That's the right way to do it. And by the way, that text message will be logged into the system. And then, of course, phone call reminders, and I showed you that just a minute ago. I love how those pop up right there on the screen. Did you notice that when I was working through that activity, everything happened right there on the screen? I didn't have to bounce around inside the CRM to get all that done. If I had 10 tasks to do today, I can just quickly work through all of those tasks, send all the follow-up emails off, and move on to the next thing. Rashana says, I get my leads from multiple sources. What do you recommend regarding how I get them into the system? Okay, so you can feed your leads in automatically. So if you're getting them from Zillow, Trulia, Realtor, doesn't matter, your own website, any kind of a lead source that you get an email notification on, we can feed those into Realvolve automatically. The system can do some things to help you respond automatically, and then also some of the manual stuff, just like I showed you in the example a minute ago. Also, I have Top Producer. It takes so long to manually enter my existing contacts. Yep, you can just get a CSV and import that into our system one time, hook it up so that all your leads are feeding in. You won't have to do any manual data entry on your contacts. Great question. Let's see. Next thing I want to talk about is I need to efficiently manage all the tasks, all the meetings, all the important dates, especially associated with transactions and listings. Paper checklists just don't cut it, people. If you are using a paper checklist, shame on you, because a paper checklist doesn't do anything when I mark off a box. It's great for keeping track. It's great for helping me stay on track and remember things, but it doesn't do anything for me other than that. So it's just what we call a dumb list. Dumb in the sense that it doesn't respond in any way, shape, or form, and I have to go seek it out. You need a system that will help you manage those things. Other problem with paper checklists is there's no prioritization really, because dates are fluid things in real estate, and our system understands that. So when you change a date on something, the priority changes. If you moved something out 2 weeks, all of the things that are going to be happening before that are going to get moved up the list, rather than you having to look past the things that you're not supposed to be doing today. Really key important thing that Realvolve does really well. Also remember, we all have a finite capacity to get things done. Your capacity is different than my capacity. You might be able to get way more done in a day than me. You might be able to juggle a lot more listings than another agent in your office. And maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you can't manage all that much. But I was talking to an agent recently, and she's a very high energy agent. She's been in the business a long time. She said when she started using Realvolve a couple of years ago, it doubled her capacity to handle listings and transactions without having to add any more staff. So think about that. That's amazing. If you could double your capacity to get things done without having to hire somebody, that's how you can build a sustainable, scalable, thriving business, because you can step away from the business a little bit more, because double your capacity may mean I actually have to spend half as much time to maintain the same level of business that I want, right? That's a really, really key thing to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is that bouncing from one task to another task wastes time and energy. We love to think we're great at multitasking. We're really not, and science proves that. One of my favorite studies from the University of Michigan found that when you bounce from one thing to another and then back to the original task, it increases the time it took you to do both of those things by 25%. Microsoft studied the same phenomenon. They found it takes 15 minutes to get back into what you were doing. So that first example I showed you of the double up follow-up where you call somebody and then you have the email queued up and ready to go, check the box, that thing goes out. How much time does that save you, right? But think about this. Let's say you're working with a referral. Here's an activity checklist for a buyer referral that I got maybe. First thing on the list, I need to say thank you to the referring agent. Second thing I want to do is make sure I have the referral agreement signed and in the file. Well, if I don't have that referral agreement signed, if I don't have a system like Realvolve now, I have to go to my email, start typing out a message, find the referral agreement, attach the file, make sure I'm not rude, make sure there's no typos, and then send it off. And then I come back into Realvolve. That might have taken me 5 minutes. It might take me 20 minutes, depending on how many times I've already requested that document and how frustrated I am with the referring agent. But in Realvolve, I have Plan B. So I want to check the box on Plan B. It's going to pull up my referral request email, already pre-written. The referral agreement's already attached to this template. All I have to do is check the box. It sends it off. It even references a projected closing date for the transaction so the agent knows how urgent it is. And guess what the best part is? When they reply with an attached document, that automatically gets uploaded into Realvolve for my records. Now the email, keep in mind, also just goes right back to my inbox like it normally does. Just like anybody sending you an email in your inbox, you're going to see it there, but you're also going to see it in Realvolve just for your reference. It just makes it easy to find all the communications relevant to a transaction right there. So think about how much time that saves you, not having to go find the email, look up the referring agent's email address and all of that kind of stuff. And you can just go, boom, right back onto the next task. If you're on a team, all of these tasks can be coordinated across the team, and the team leader can keep an eye on everything that everybody's doing for the day. So you could quickly build a filtered list and see everything that needs to happen this week, and it's sorted by who needs to actually do it. If I want to sort out everybody else's stuff and only see my stuff, I can do that. I can filter by tag. I can filter by a lot of different things if I want to. So tags are really cool. That's how we use, it's the mechanism that we use at Realvolve to help sort everything and keep everything organized. Jennifer asks, do you have workflows already built or do we create our own? Great question, Jennifer. We actually have a library of workflows. There are free workflows in there and there are premium workflows. You get what you pay for. Some of them are amazingly powerful. If you want to know my favorites, just shoot us an email. We'll let you know, or just ask me in the chat there. We'll let you know depending on what you're actually trying to do. So if you're trying to do a lead conversion or stay in touch with your past clients or work through transactions, let me know what that is and I'll point you in the right direction. Valerie says, tags are a bit confusing to me. Can I tag contacts, properties, transactions as well? Do you have recommendations on tag categories like lead, client, customer, former customer, etc.? Yes, we do. We actually have content around that. We have, maybe I'll have one of the sales reps put a link to some documents that we have. We have some really good information about how to tag people. It's valuable regardless of whether you're going to use Realvolve or not. Just keeping your tags clean and your properties, your transactions, and your contacts organized really cleanly is important no matter what you're using. So maybe somebody can put that in the chat for me there. All right, moving on. Other tools, the problem with other tools, other CRMs, other workflow platforms, they don't center around people, transactions, listings, and properties. Most of them center around contacts, and that's it, or maybe just leads, and that's it. And that's the cool thing about Realvolve. We're built for the real estate industry by people from the industry. A lot of us have been in the industry for a long time. I've been in the industry, worked for another real estate technology company before. My start in my career actually was working in as a loan officer. And so I've been around the real estate industry for a long time. Our founder, Dave Crumby, was a real estate agent and broker for decades. Mark Steff, our chief innovation officer, was a real estate agent I'm sorry, not a real estate agent, a real estate CRM proprietor for 25 years. He had Advantage XI before he joined Realvolve a few years ago. He knows the ins and outs of the real estate industry and what you need to get done every day. And he's been having these conversations with real estate agents for 25, 30 years now. Gary David Hall, our VP of Customer Success, he's worked for RE/MAX in the past. He's been a real estate CRM guru for a long time. People would hire him to consult on which CRMs they should join. He joined us a couple of years ago when he saw how cool our platform was. Kendall Young, she's an active agent and broker and team leader in Southern California. We work with her a lot. She does lots of consulting for us, and she helps us build workflows and really understand how to build the platform for real estate agents. So in Realvolve, people are connected to their properties, the transactions, the referrals, and to their spouses in a way that non-real estate solutions just don't do and don't understand. And so our system understands how those things should be related. Our system understands little details that you might not be thinking about, but little details like if you want to print out a mailing label, the spouse needs to be combined together and print one label. Whereas other people that might be joint on a property need two different mailing labels. And so there's all kinds of little tiny details that we've thought of that just make your life easier. A really cool thing is when you're building out a property listing or a transaction, you can drag and drop party members onto that transaction, and the system builds a nice tight little party of people. And again, we know how they should be connected. So you're going to drag the home inspector, the seller agent onto the transaction. You'll set the inspection date, for example. And because now we know who's involved in the transaction, what their role is in the transaction, and we know the important dates, we can do really cool things like a day before the home inspection, we can email and text everybody that should be there or everybody that should care about it, and let them know of the date, time, and location of that inspection. So the inspector, the buyer spouse, you as the buyer agent, and then of course the seller agent wants to know when you're going to be at the property. So all of that stuff can happen automatically once you've built out the property party one time. So cool, and it just saves you a ton of time. And again, what happens if you change the date on the home inspection? Our system just erases all those tasks and reschedules them for the proper date and time. Really cool thing. So Realvolve helps you go from lead to transaction, past client to repeat and referral business seamlessly using workflows. It's a killer tool. We've got lots of functionality, lots of power built in there. Just a couple more things I want to cover before I wrap up. Louise says, earlier you mentioned you can send texts, or these individual texts or group texts. Do you offer scripts for these messages or part of the free trial? As a part of the free trial? Yeah, Louise, actually, yes to everything. So except the group texting. They're all individual texts, but they can be scheduled to go out to a party of people or to a lot of your past clients. Actually, one of our clients was just talking with me a couple of weeks ago. She was just getting a workflow built, and it was her mistake, but she accidentally sent a happy birthday text message to every single client in her past client database. What she meant to do was schedule it to go out. Remember I showed you the dates where you can schedule different things to happen on different dates? So she wanted it to go out on their birthday, but she accidentally just sent it out to everybody. And so everybody replied. People were replying to her, hey, thanks for reaching out, but it's not my birthday, because they thought she just got their birthday wrong. They didn't know she sent it to everybody. They thought she had just gotten their birthday wrong. It turned into a couple of listing appointments and potential buyers for her just by inadvertently sending that kind of stuff out. So that to me is just a testament of how powerful texting can be and how many deals might be sitting in your past client database. You need to get better at reaching out if you think that might be the case to re-engage people. So again, like I mentioned earlier, Realvolve is all about prioritizing your day around long-term gains. I recommend doing 2 proactive things for every 1 reactive thing. So reactive thing is answering an email, responding to a question. Responding to frequently asked questions that you get is a reaction. We really need to be proactive, especially because things like 30% of our clients are first-time home buyers if they're a buyer. 30% of buyers in the last couple of years are first-time home buyers. So what is a first-time home buyer going to want to ask that someone that's already purchased 3 or 4 homes doesn't care about? Well, you can have a workflow specifically designed for first-time home buyers that was really proactive in how you communicate what to expect at every single step of the transaction. It really helps you. We want you to focus on building relationships, recognize new opportunities, work on your marketing plan, do networking, prevent crises. We don't want you necessarily just stuck in reaction mode. We want you to feel like you have a handle on your business. That's the whole point of Realvolve. Before I get completely wrapped up, if you have any questions, please start typing those now. I want to invite you to join our Realvolve community on Facebook. It's a really powerful group, tight-knit group of people. There's lots of helpful people in there doing lots of back and forth. A lot of our employees are in there. People are really supportive. So join that community, whether or not you decide to go with us. Join the community. We talk all about building a business, not just building a job for yourself. So there's lots of talk about proactivity. There's lots of workflow ideas, template ideas, scripting ideas, all kinds of cool stuff like that. So what questions do you have before we get wrapped up here? Okay, so Candy, what do you mean by workflow? What tasks can I manage? I'm thinking of hiring an assistant. Should I wait till my assistants start getting... Okay, so I get this question a lot, actually. Workflows are a great way to manage anything you have to do. It's a to-do, it's a checklist, it's a phone call, it's a meeting, it's a face-to-face. All those things you can manage there. If the reason for getting an assistant is because you're having trouble coordinating with your clients and communicating with your clients, keeping track of all your to-dos, those kinds of things, I would say that go ahead, hire an assistant. If you're already planning on doing that, I wouldn't wait for that, though. I would start building out workflows now. I have talked to no fewer than 2 people in just the last 2 months that said they had an assistant quit on them and they had to replace them. But because they had Realvolve workflows all set up, ready to go, it made that transition really, really smooth, and they were able to hire somebody without real estate experience. So again, I heard from no fewer than 2 people in the last couple of months that said they hired an assistant with no real estate experience, but that person was able to come in, look at all the workflows, understand how that system worked, and really effectively communicate with your clients potentially, because they're going to know how you like to do things, and your communication style is going to be built into the workflows. So I would say never wait. The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The next best time is right now. So start getting those workflows built now so that when you hire that assistant, it'll be a much smoother onboarding process. Luis, text messages. Okay, I already got that one. Let's see, any other questions here? I'm just trying to find. Okay. Tracy, who is my rep? I don't know, Tracy, but we can look you up and get back to you right away. Also, I'm going to share a link here in the chat so you can actually click on that and go right to a page on our website where it'll automatically schedule you with one of our reps. So you'll be able to see their calendar, compare that to yours, and get some time with your rep right away. Let's see, what other questions do we have here? I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here for a minute. Show me an example task. Yes, that's the example task is what I just went over a little bit ago, Candy, at the beginning where I showed here. Actually, let's pull it up again. This was an example task. So I can actually filter my tasks here in my list. So I've got my people, my listings, my transactions, documents, tags, and my tasks or my activities. So if I clear my filters here, it's actually going to show me all my tasks. I can actually build a list out if I want to. So this is just a demo account, so it's cluttered with a lot of stuff that shouldn't be in there. But here's my task list, and I can just work down the list. Some of these things require me to actually do something, and some of them I simply check the box off that I did them. That one task that I showed you earlier was a really good example of something that I had to do. Any other questions? I think we got to all of them. Yeah, so I'd love to invite you to just get some time scheduled with your representative. Love to show you everything that Realvolve has to offer. We want to take a deep dive for you and your business and figure out how we can help you execute on your day-to-day tasks, make you more effective. We have lots of cool ideas, and we talk to real estate agents all day long. So let us know what your challenge is in your business, and let's work on it together. Thank you so much for joining us today. If we didn't get to your question, we'll get to it right away, I promise. We'll follow up with an email. Just wanted to wrap up as quickly as I can. This went longer than I was hoping in the first place, but thanks for sticking with us to the end here. Have a great day. Bye-bye for now.